Right, so this is our Wednesday evening Lenten worship, live streamed and experimental in real time. We are gathered with a few folks representing the congregation who are keeping their appropriate social distance and are not one of our more vulnerable populations, but they're here to sing with us. We have music, we have scripture, we have what we need, and we have you who are gathered with us and are here now or will be watching later. So bear with our experiments and join us for this new prayer. Jesus Christ, you are the light of the world. The light of the darkness and all. Just now for it is evening, and the day is almost over. Let your light scatter the darkness, and shine the of the video itself, maybe also on the Facebook feed, and maybe also in your email. We try to be thorough. And then to our quote-unquote congregation, why don't we do ministers one? We continue the song once we get closer. Oh, We don't usually do this on Wednesday nights, but I heard a great story on Sunday about when Pastor Tim was getting ready for children's time, and there was a family watching along at home who was very techy, and so they had it on their television. And when Pastor Tim sat down and said, "All right, kids, come on up for children's time," their young folks went running up to the TV. So we thought this makes sense. We hope that this is family worship, but we know kids don't necessarily still for the whole thing. So kids, this is our time. I wanted to share a song with you tonight. It's one we've done a couple of times in Sunday school and in church, and it's one that I really love to sing. Sometimes even at night when I can't sleep, I sing it in my head, or if one of my little ones that are not little anymore can't sleep, I might sing it after Hush Little Baby or some of the things that they had when they were little. And it's a reminder that even when things are all weird and different, like right now we're doing church with 5 people and Mr. Brian and myself, and that feels weird and different. And you might be doing school at home, and parents are trying to figure out how to do things at home, and everybody's getting in everybody's way. It's all a little weird and different. Still, Jesus promises to be with us. So the song, the words are, "Don't be afraid. My love is stronger." This is God talking. "My love is stronger than your fear. Don't be afraid. My love is stronger, and I have promised to always be with you." It goes like this. Don't be afraid. My love is stronger. My love is stronger than your fear. Don't be afraid. My love is stronger, and I have promised to be always near. So we'll probably practice that again and we'll try another time. So this is a good one. It's a good reminder for grown-ups and for younger folks who are 5 years. Now I have to stand up for the hard part. I like the sitting better. I might sit next. So this is pretty different from where we were last week when we gathered with a few more than 5. And we gathered to talk about our theme of God's work and our work in our daily lives. Our work may have been pretty different last week. For many of us, our jobs and how we do them have changed a lot in the last 7-10 days. Some of us work from home. These guys in the back row have been trying to go to school from home. My favorite thing in my life right now is a Facebook group of Lutheran moms who are also pastors, and there's this wonderful thread that describes your children as your coworkers. And so one comment says, my coworker woke me up at 4 a.m. vomiting. Another one says, my coworker keeps pulling on my pants demanding peanut butter. And it goes on and on. So some of us, we've had to be creative about what work is like. But for others of us, jobs are feeling more tenuous. For folks who work in healthcare, jobs are ballooning as they try to figure out in their workplaces what is going to change, what shifts there will be in workload and capacity, working outside of their usual areas of expertise. We are praying for you all here in healthcare, and we will continue to be doing that, along with all the other things that keep our world moving. And everyone is trying as close as they can to approximate a good attitude and respond to the needs of our world as they're changing, the needs of our neighbors, the needs of our community. It's a little bit like we've fallen down the rabbit hole with Alice in Wonderland, where no one knows which direction is up to play croquet. Flamingos, cats materialize in front of you out of the blue. Everything is different. So our Lenten plan says we're supposed to be talking about God's justice work and the ways that our work participates in that. And when I sat down, I thought, well, that doesn't sound very relevant to what we're doing right now. And then I opened the Bible to read what we had chosen for scripture, and of course, it is. It makes a tremendous amount of sense. So we are going to hear from the book of Exodus, chapters 22 and 23, bits and pieces. And God is kind of putting the parameters for how God's people are going to live together. How are they going to be God's people in the world? And honestly, when you listen, you're going to hear that it boils down to we belong to each other. We have responsibilities for one another. Nobody is free from those responsibilities, and nobody is so unimportant that we can ignore them. So from Exodus 22, says, if a thief is found breaking in and is beaten to death, no blood guilt is incurred. But if it happens after sunrise, blood guilt is incurred. When someone causes a field or a vineyard to be grazed over or lets livestock loose to graze in someone else's field, restitution shall be made from the best in the owner's field or vineyard. When fire breaks out and catches in thorns so that the stacked grain or standing grain or field is consumed, the one who started the fire will make restitution. You shall not wrong or oppress a resident alien. You were aliens in the land of Egypt. You should not abuse a widow or orphan. If you do, they will cry out to me, and I will surely heed their cry. If you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, do not deal with them as a creditor. Do not exact interest from them. If you take your neighbor's cloak in pawn, you shall restore it before the sun goes down. For it may be your neighbor's only clothing he has covered. And what else shall that person see? If your neighbor cries out to me, I will listen, for I am compassionate. And then in the next chapter, in Exodus 23, it says, you shall not spread a false report or join hands with the wicked to act as a malicious witness. You shall not follow a majority in wrongdoing when you bear witness in a lawsuit. You shall not side with the majority and pervert justice or be partial to the poor. When you come upon your enemy's ox or donkey going astray, you shall bring it back. When you see the donkey of the one who hates you lying down under its burden, and you would hold back from setting it free, you must help to set it free. You shall not pervert the justice due to your poor in their losses. Keep far from a false charge. Do not kill the innocent and those in the right. You shall take no bribe. A bribe blinds the officials and subverts the cause of those who are in right. You shall not oppress a resident alien. You know the heart of an alien, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. And then finally, these words about the Sabbath. For 6 years you shall sow your land and gather in its yield. But the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, so that the poor of the people may eat. And what they leave, the wild animals may also eat. You shall do the same with your vineyard and your olive orchard. 6 days you shall do your work, but on the 7th day you shall rest, so that your ox and your donkey may have their meat, and your homeboard slave and the resident alien may be refreshed. Be attentive to all that I have said. You hear it there? Everything from having to bring back your enemy's lost donkey to not oppressing the resident alien. There's Sabbath rest for slaves and oxen. There's justice that needs to be applied fairly. Penalties for beating a thief to death in broad daylight, because that's not appropriate and that's not proportionate. In every situation, we have responsibilities to each other. In every situation, we belong to one another. Every human, and even those creatures that we depend on, is owed a certain level of fairness and consideration. And what connects that, I think, to our upside-down days that we are living is the way this story is told. God's people get this teaching right away as they have entered into the wilderness. Just a few months after they run away and fled as slaves, they will be wandering for 40 years. For a whole generation, they won't have fields to worry about or stacked grain to be counted up. They're depending on manna from above. This society that is just is God's plan for God's people. Whether they are settled in the land of milk and honey or wandering in uncharted territory. Probably especially when they're in uncharted territory, because that's when we are so tempted to give up on tending one another, isn't it? That's when we start to think that every person for themselves. And no different. Not every person for himself. It's all of it. God is for us, never leaving us alone. God is with us even in the wilderness. That Easter candle we have burning there, that pillar of flame, is a reminder for us of the presence of Christ, and it echoes back to the time that God's people were in the wilderness, being led by a pillar of fire, a sign that God is present, going ahead of them. And one of the ways that God is present with God's people in all these difficult times is shaping the people to live the way they were created to be. Now, some of us are obviously called to what is clearly justice work. We have law enforcement officers and lawyers and legislators and people who govern. We have those who campaign for civil rights and those who defend the marginalized. But in these days, falling down Alice's rabbit hole, God is present also in the small ways that we're called to work for justice in our daily lives. Thinking hard about what we really need in that toilet paper aisle and making sure there is room for others. I still don't know why it's TV, but it is. Noticing when changes hit some people a lot harder than others, and then looking through their needs, like the school nutrition folks who scramble to get in place in communities all across the country, 2 meals a day for the kids that depend on them. Just because school isn't in session, you can go and head up to Valparaiso and in so many places around. Like the men's overnight shelter, teams working across churches and with our New Creations men's ministry in town to be sure that the folks without a home have someplace safe and healthy to be in the coming weeks and months. Like stores setting aside special shopping hours for folks who are especially vulnerable. Like medical folk making careful decisions about how resources get used. All of that is our work for justice. All of those little pieces make their way into our lives. And then those words about Sabbath, that's part of God's justice making, part of our justice keeping. Because man, when we are in uncharted territory, we start to twirl in circles, don't we? At least I do. I cycle between doing the few things I can, monitoring the news, checking my email, threading, doing news, email, threading, making time to stop, making time to rest in God. It's so important if we are going to continue to be the people God has created to act with justice and kindness. If we are going to get out of our own selfishness, we have to rest in God. Taking time to remember that we're not in charge, that we can't do it on our own. That's part of our responsibility to ourselves and to everyone. I think that's part of our promise tonight. That the God who works for justice for all is right here with us in the way. And has given us this way of being, this way of acting justly, that is absolutely for right now in the middle of the wilderness, as well as for the promised land. And we've got this gift of Sabbath, time to rest in our dependence on it. And then the invitation. The promise is an invitation. The invitation is to carry on in that sharing of God's justice work, in whatever opportunities your day gives you, in whatever community your day gives you. It might be the toilet paper aisle. It might be in anxious conversation or Zoom meetings from home, figuring out if there will be work tomorrow, in dealing with neighbors, physically, virtually, whatever it is. How can we live with justice? Honoring that truth that we are responsible for one another. I invite you to join me in prayer, and then we will move into our time of singing. So let us pray. Lord God, we thank you that you are with us, that you have promised to accompany us when we are wandering, to be present with us when we are lost. We thank you that you have come in Jesus so that there is no dark corner that this world can drag us into, that you haven't gone through first to come out and make a way for us. We pray especially tonight for all who are anxious and worried. We pray for leaders, for health workers. We ask, for God, that you would use all the measures that folks are taking to slow the spread of virus, to equip us to deal with it and with us. We pray, God, that you would equip us to love our neighbors, to act with justice and fairness and a sense of responsibility for our communities. And that you would give us rest. You would give us moments of relying on your promise, your love, reminding us that you have gone ahead of us. We pray in Jesus' name. Great and merciful God, source and ground of all goodness and life, give to your people the peace that passes all understanding, and the will to live your gospel of mercy and justice through Jesus Christ our Lord. In these days, as things are changing, you probably will not be walking through the front door of CLC's facilities. Facilities are closed for the time being. The telephone still works, and there will be someone to answer much of the time. You may also email either any of the staff or pastors at clcvalpo.org. We'll make it to Pastor Tim and myself. So those are great ways to be in touch. Please use the phone and get all of the touch time. And now we conclude with the Lord's Prayer. God, remember us in your love and teach us to